welcome to another episode on Startup September Kolia. Now in Lagos, a unique initiative is quietly nurturing some Nigeria's brightest teenage mind. It is called the Smartan House. Now this house is a hub where young people from low-income backgrounds, fresh out of secondary school, are not only given a home, but also the tools to develop life-changing ideas. Now, I visited the house and I'm here to bring you the story of a group of teenagers preparing to take on the world one project at a time.
I'm Johnson Abali. Everyone calls me Smartan Dad. I'm the founder of the Smartan House.
Smartan House, a living space for teenagers from low-income families, is more than just shelter. It is a launchpad for innovation, learning, and purpose-driven living. The founder of the house, Johnson Abali, also known as Smartan Dad, described the initiative as his own way of giving back to the society by investing in Nigeria's future leaders.
I love these kids. They are incredible. A lot of them came in pretty raw. And the way that they have responded to growth, the way that they've embraced the framework and the commitment, the discipline, the intellectual rigor, the stickness to, the ability to stick to, the parameters for growth, it's been incredible. I love every single one of them. They're a handful, of course. When you have a lot of young people in the same space, it can be very dramatic. But, they've learned to bond as a family. All right, and thankfully, because we also ensure that we bring in some strong moral consciousness into the work that we're doing.
Each resident, referred to as a Smartan, is selected after an intensive 8-week screening camp that accesses their passion, drive, and creative thinking. Once admitted, they are guided to develop a personal project aimed at solving a real-world problem.
So even if you don't have to come to the 1-year gap program or the you understand what I'm saying, the gap year program, you don't even have to. All right, the 6 weeks, the 8 weeks, fantastic, because then you still get to get exposed to all of the tools and the framework that we're using. We are ready for university. If I have my way, I will make every young person from a struggling background go through this 6 weeks program before they venture into any university, because that's really their fighting chance. University only give you a certificate, and many of these kids just wing it to get a certificate, and then that certificate only gets you through the door. It doesn't guarantee that you get a job. To get a job, you've got to be smart, because interviewers today are interviewing for intellectual growth aptitude. They don't care about what's written on the paper. You get a picture. And you need to be able to demonstrate that capacity, because the world hires your mind, not your paper.
The founder of Smartan House acknowledged that funding the initiative has been a major challenge, noting that he often relies on his personal resources to keep the house running. He explained that securing external support or consistent revenue has proven difficult, but he remains committed because he believes the teenagers under his care deserve a real shot at achieving greatness.
It's an extraordinary project. It's very capital intensive. Change is expensive, especially you want to do this. And when you're running this as a nonprofit, not even as a social enterprise, as a nonprofit, you realize that the funding gaps become a big challenge. One of the major challenges that we've had with assessing grant would be what some other people have done in the sector before. This social development sector has been bastardized previously. People have gone into the sector, do a lot of tokenism, taking money from development partners, disappeared, no real impact on the ground and all of that. So people are skeptical about putting money in that space. And that has really complicated work for the people who generally want to do the work.
All right, now that you've gotten a glimpse into the story of the Smartan House, it is clear that there is no house without its own residents. And here, each resident are known as a Smartan, and they are more than just a member of a community. So let's meet some of these bright minds who are not just dreamy, but are actively building the world they want to see. 17-year-old Cosmos, the son of a danfo driver, is reimagining the future of public transportation in Lagos. Aware that Danfo, the yellow minibuses that remains the city's most common mode of transport, are often overlooked when it comes to innovation and safety upgrades, Cosmos is determined to change the narrative.
One of my deep work sessions doing research is I come to realize that the future of movement as a species would be heavily public, because the population will continue to rise. The earth cannot expand, obviously. The roads will remain the way they are, so we have to think of new ways of moving. We have to squeeze as many people as we can in one type of vehicle, and it has to be public. And you know, in Lagos, the most used one is the Danfo, but the thing is, it is the most neglected. If you check the BRT, it's being upgraded every now and then. In fact, you can start seeing electric buses as the Danfo. The lag ride is doing well. When you check the railways, we have the blue line, everything, even the ferry. But when it comes to the Danfo, it's been like that for ages. Nobody has done anything about it. You cannot have that system neglected for too long, especially with the fact that it's the most used mode of transportation in Lagos. Lagos is huge. We have over 20 million people, and a huge number of these people use the Danfo, and then you're neglecting that system. It's not going to help in the long run. We're going to lose time. We're going to lose a lot of opportunities. Too many things can happen in the process.
Stephanie is working on an innovative project called Art, a creative fusion of art, the unit of sound frequency, and the human art. Our focus is on the healing power of sound and its ability to create balance within the body.
In my research, I found that sound is literally in everything, in every part of the world. And it is how we live every single day. For instance, if your ears are closed, you really cannot work because it creates a balance for you to work. That is just one aspect of sound. And then I thought, well, that can be applied into healthcare. And so I found that sound can actually be used to heal. And so in my research, I found out that the pharmaceutical industry, they spent over $1 trillion in 2022, and that's projected to reach about $2 trillion in 2030. I mean, that's quite a lot of money, and that dependency is leading to antimicrobial resistance, meaning the viruses and bacteria are starting to build a resistance against these pills. So from what I've seen, most of these pills only suppress the symptoms. They don't exactly heal. The body itself does the healing. So I thought, if sound is something that we've always been accustomed to, even in our mother's womb, right in the bellies, we're already used to sounds. Not just sound, even water, but then let's not go into the aspects just yet. Sound, then of course sound can be used to heal the body. I mean, there are times where we listen to music and it just rejuvenates us all over again. But then beyond the brain, I believe that it can heal the body.
Fortune is deeply passionate about languages and the power of communication. It's developing an app designed to bridge the gap caused by language barriers with a focus on capturing the emotional depth behind words, not just their literal meanings.
Language can be different things to different people, right? But the idea is to portray that knowing another person's language is like how someone says it, is like having a second soul. So Frank Smith says, one language will set you in a corridor for life. 2 languages will open every door along the way. So it's beyond knowing just one language. It cuts across different things from health. I mean, many parts of the world that is bilingual tend to experience less and less of all cognitive decline that exists, right? And the reason is because you're training your brain to think in different parts, think in different souls, think in different thoughts, think in different connections, think in different consciousnesses, right? And that is very important. So bringing that whole idea that deploying language or learning languages can be fun, it's like when you draw. Many people see drawing as complex, but then you see a drawing and then it appeals to your soul. Why? Because the artist put his soul into doing it. Nobody says it was easy for the artist to do it, but the idea was, I need to put my soul into this, and that's why it is speaking different languages to all the people who will see that. So imagine someone that is vested into learning different languages. You're opening your minds to like a variety of possibilities. You're opening your minds to a variety of opportunities. I mean, it was Nelson Mandela who said that if you talk to a man in a language he understands, it will go to his head. But if you talk to that same man in his own language, it will go to his heart. And we know that whatever goes to your heart, you can't forget it, because now your emotions are connected to it. So imagine you're communicating with someone and then the next thing, it switches to your own language. It solidifies your connection.
Eddie is diving deep into the future of technology by exploring the world of nanotechnology, the science of the invisible. While the rest of the world is just starting to recognize potentials of nanobots, Eddie is already a step ahead, imagining how these tiny innovations can transform everyday life.
You see, though I am in technology, my tech is creative, not repetitive, right? Just like the Wright brothers, just like Aaron Turing, when they wanted to build the airplane, people said if man was meant to fly, then God would have given them wings, right? They failed, but they tried again until they got it. Alan Turing tried again until he achieved his artificial intelligence. So what I'm trying to do is trying to bring mechatronic technology down to nano size, right? And so for context now, your red blood cell is about 7 micrometers and nanotechnology is about 1,000 times smaller than that. Now, what you can, what you can do with that, the applications of that now, is that you can create things on command. Imagine a swarm of tiny little robots. Have you watched Avengers Endgame? Familiar with that? You saw how Tony's new nanotech suit just created, yeah, exactly, and he's creating things like that. We call those kind of things swarm nanobots. What this guy is doing now is basically they think as a group, right? And so you can command them, you can program them, you can teach them, they can form shapes and structures. How does this actually affect our world? Now, it does in many ways. First, protection. If you were on sea now, by the way, a large amount of sea accidents are caused by collisions that tear open the hull of the sea. What nanotech can do on that ship is that while your ship is broken and water is gushing, now you know the amount of people, properties, and goods that are going to be lost. You can go there, you can activate your nanotech system. It will instantly close up. It will send little nanobots to the place, to the damaged area, and seal it up instantly. Have you heard of precision drug Medicare? Okay, so basically what this is that scientists are now trying to attack bacteria, viruses, and illnesses at the very spots they are. So instead of giving you drugs to swallow, what they're trying to do is that they are going to inject things into your body that go straight to the source where that thing is now. That's where my nanobots come in. With my nanotechnology, you can trace that thing straight to the source. So you have these really, really tiny robots in your body doing the work that drug will take so much time to do, because the drug has to circulate through your whole body. But this goes straight to the place out it is.
Promise is passionate about media literacy and is on a mission to tackle the growing challenge of misinformation, particularly within the entertainment industry. Recognizing how quickly false narratives spread across social media, she is working towards developing a fact-checking app that will allow users to easily verify information before believing or sharing it.
Misinformation affects the whole world, whether we know it or we don't know it. Imagine a sick person sees an information online. Maybe the person is having some kind of sickness, or the usual, let me just say the usual YouTube post where you can see Tom bitter cola and bitter leaf can cure cancer. Imagine someone gets to try that. You possibly be endangering the life of that person. But imagine me achieving this mission I'm trying to embark on. It will definitely make everybody, the world as a whole, feel safe. They will then trust what they feed, what they see online. They will then trust the things people tell them. They would know their left from their right, because honestly, average or above average don't believe what they see online in the world as a whole. Over 50% of people don't believe what they see online, including me. because if I see a news online, I have to like dig deep before I get to believe it, and it's affecting a whole lot of people, that especially those in the finance industry. Before they would want to invest in something, they'll have to dig deep and they'll have doubts and everything. So it's affecting the world as a whole. But me bringing this solution to the world will help everybody to live a very peaceful life.
Inspired by rising global concerns around mental health and its impact on productivity and revenue, Grace is exploring alternative solutions beyond traditional therapy. A project combines music therapy, fashion, and AI to offer a more accessible and stylish approach to emotional care, proving that healing can also be wearable.
Globally, we have over 970 million people that are affected by a mental health disorder, and which means 1 in every 8 people in the world live with a mental health disorder. And that's very concerning, because looking at all these numbers, it shows, or it has been proven over the years, that this problem has cost our global revenue over $1 trillion, which actually affects the workspace. Because if you have employees who aren't feeling okay, who are mentally unstable, it's going to affect their work ethic, the way they work, the way they do things. And so I'm trying to see how I can use music to become a cure. Because yes, there's music therapy right now, but I'm trying to see how this can actually become a cure with the help of fashion and AI.
Then there is 16-year-old Noel, who is redefining the way we see gaming. He is on a mission to challenging the common stereotype, especially among parents, that video games are merely a distraction from academics. Through his project, Noel is exploring how gaming can be a powerful tool for developing critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
You know, I noticed something, right? We have over 3.3 billion gamers in this world. And I said to myself, why has it been like that? People tend to not use gaming solutions to solve life problems, right? And how about I create that game? How about I create that platform where people they tend to solve life problems through their gaming skills? For example, there was a time I was playing a 1v4, that's 1 versus 4 game on Free Fire. And at that point, I was tensed. I was so scared, because if I should win that game, I'm definitely going to a higher rank. And I was so shocked, and I found my way, and I killed all of them. But if I should draw out principles from that, I would say that my decision making was so accurate, my critical thinking was so accurate, my problem solving was so accurate. And the basic problem I'm trying to tackle here is the fact that people tend to see gaming as something that is negative. They don't tend to look at the pro part of gaming. There is a game called Folded, right? And the gamers, they tend to discover the structure of an enzyme on AIDS research. And this same research took scientists over 15 years. Meanwhile, gamers, they literally discovered it in 15 days. That was so accurate. So I said to myself, gaming is evolving. Gaming is going global, but education is stuck in the past. How about I solve education problem using gaming?
Now, according to the House Chief Operating Officer, each Smartan embarks on what is called deep work, a rigorous hands-on journey that pushes them to refine their projects and themselves.
One of the criteria we use to choose those people that come, we don't just choose anybody. In fact, we're more like elitism. That's what we practice, which is the best, right? People that seem to have the intellectual aptitude, right, for the work we're doing here. People that are already sharing the science, that could take up, they have eye agency, that could pick up a project, a problem, and say, I'm going to solve this problem. If it has to take everything, I'm going to pour in everything to it, because I love this thing I'm doing, and it's a problem that I'm facing each, and I have to scratch for not just myself, for those around me, right? So we pick people from young people, focus around teenagers, around 14 or 13 to 21, around that age range, right? I came to Smartan House when I was 17, right? That's when I came here to the community house to live here, but I joined in 2020, right? When it first started, it started in 2020 as a Smartan WhatsApp group, it was during the coronavirus, where we brought a lot of people in, about over 4,000 people joined across Lagos, right? my teacher selected me when I was still in public school then to join the program. I joined in, and it was a whole good experience from 2020, and then came to the house, got invited here in 2023, right? So we look at schools, especially public schools and low-fee private schools. They kind of pay about 25,000 naira per term. You know those kind, where they have leaking roofs and almost no chairs. They have season tires, and they have just one teacher teaching like 10 subjects. That kind, right? But we look at those people from underserved, underreached areas, the Makokos, the Barua, the Agbede, those other places, not from the highbrow schools, right? Because we believe that these ones, because of they have an opportunity, and that's what I like to call it, to face need. They experience need, and that need drives them to do more. It's like something keeps burning their hearts every single day. When you look at the surroundings, something burns in their heart that I want more. I want to do more for my surroundings, not just for myself. And it could split in any direction, either on the dark side or on the light. Right? For the dark side, we see a lot of them coming out of that side, and because of that drive, they get into scam culture because they think it's quick, right? And it's that culture that continues to ravage our society. Right, so we are providing an alternative culture, right? We're capturing all those young people as they get into the gap year, just after secondary school, bring them into the Smartan program, go through 6 to 8 weeks grueling, intense 6 weeks program, residential. It's residential because we believe that for change to happen, there have to be a change in the environment.
According to the executive director of Smartan House, the ultimate goal is to empower each Smartan to become confident and self-reliant, equipped not just to stand on their own, but to inspire others in their generation. It's about nurturing young change makers who can recognize their own potential and in turn help others discover theirs, creating a ripple effect of impact, leadership, and purpose.
Well, the experience has been good. It's been awesome. It's been exhausting as well, but it has more positive sides to the negative. When you're around a couple of teenagers who are very energetic, who are willing to get the grind going, of course, it's been a positive vibe all the time. But when you talk about running this place in terms of activities, to start with, I would say we have a pool of activities to ensure that everyone is engaged, so no one is hiding behind the curtain or behind the scene of anybody. So you're not in anybody's shadows, right? So what we do is we ensure that you have your deep work when you wake up. As a matter of fact, when you wake up, the first thing to do is to commune. So we have these set rules that you commune with Haba, and after that, you go straight to your deep work. There are days we have general meetings. I'm still speaking on activities. There are days you have general meetings, and then we go straight to all of those meetings where we diversify in terms of our ACONs. Everybody has to touch on it and then give us feedback. Also, we learn together sometimes because the structure of our system here is not the same with the university structure, so to speak. I have a saying that the future of education is not what we teach, it's how we teach people to think. So when we teach them to think the right way, that's where they are able to be co-creators of new inventions and problem solvers, right? So whenever we have such meetings, we're talking about reflecting on how the previous day was, we're reflecting on the new discoveries you found, and also beginning to diversify, teach one another on the next step and how to move. That's in terms of activities. Then in terms of funding, let's talk money now, right? It's been challenging, it's been tough, because my role as executive director needs me to ensure that we get the right champions to help us share the gospel of this movement and mission, and finding people who align with your values, your visions, is quite tough.
Now that you've met the Smartans, now they might be young, but their ideas are bold and deeply rooted in their personal experiences. Now, despite financial challenges, the mission continues, and in a small corner of Lagos, to be precise. Now, Nigeria's future is being quietly and powerfully shaped. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. See you again next time.